Alright guys, so we are going to do our next lesson on Computer Science A, and this time we're going to talk about class interfacing. About interfacing. We're going to talk about more object orientation and just a little bit more manipulation with the driver class. Alright, so the next video will probably be on polymorphism and inheritance, but this video will just be an introduction to interfacing. So we have two interfaces here, space and container. So I'm writing this down so you can see this. All right, so instead of doing public class and then the name of a class, we have a public interface. Okay, so public interface. This is saying that this is full of what are known as abstract methods. An abstract method is a method that does not have any sort of definition. You see how it just ends with a semicolon, right? Normally you wouldn't have a semicolon here. You would have this, right? This has a semicolon. It's like a statement. It's an abstract method, all right? So it's full of only abstract methods, and we'll get into abstract classes probably in the next video as well. But these are abstract methods. They have no implementation, and so they are meant to be implemented by various class files, and then those methods will be used there, right? So we have two. So we have four. So here's our container. We have four methods: warp space, get system, and destroy space. Here we have our space, which is get value and get name. Okay. So here we have planet, which implements space. So it's sort of like extends, except when you implement, you have to implement all of the methods that come with it. And so here I just want to point out this toString method. This toString method is actually a method that is inherent, that all objects have inherently. However, you need to manipulate the toString method. You have to actually, normally it's empty, or it just returns the value of the location in memory is what it normally does. But in this case, what this will do is it will automatically just we're manipulating it so that it returns the name and the value. And so it implements space. And so when we implement an interface, we have to implement these methods. We have to define these methods. And so we do right here, get value and get name. We define those methods because we have to. If I say comment this out, look at what our compiler says. The compiler says the type planet must implement the inherited abstract method space.getName. See? It needs to implement that abstract method right there. All right. And so now we also have a solar system that implements container as such. And so this is called an array. All right. So an array holds multiple objects or multiple primitive data types. It just holds multiple. It just holds a large amount of data. All right. And it holds it in the form of it's comma spliced data set. It's just a data set is basically all it is. All right. So an example of array would be something like 2, 1, 5. This would be an integer array with 3 values. Okay. And so you would define this as like int with hard brackets r equals new int, something like that. Okay. And then if I were to print this, we would do what's called a for. We could use what's called a for loop, right, as I talked in the last video, or we can use a for each loop, which just iterates it. For int I in R and then print that. And then we have to actually print that, right? How are we going to print that? We're going to print I. Let's see what this returns. It returns 2, 1, and 5. All right, you see that? So that's how this works. I can also just do print line I. If I run that, we get 2, 1, 5. You see? It just prints everything in that array. All right. So let us mess around with these files. We're going to create our solar system. Let's name our solar system something called our system. Okay, like this. Now, if we go to the solar system, we see that there are two constructors. We can either establish the size, or we can just plug in a planet array. Well, we don't have a planet array already ready, so we're going to have to just establish the size. There are 8 planets in our solar system. Yes, Pluto is in fact not a planet in this case. So, by the way, when you don't even need to call this toString method when you're printing it out, when you print it out, it automatically uses that toString. So if I just create a new planet here, planet, planet, and then if we go to the documentation planet, it's name and then val, so we would call it Earth, and then that value would be 3. Okay, and as you can see, I can call that toString method like this, right? So I can call it like such, and it says Earth 3. But I don't even need that, and it's automatically called. Watch. See? It automatically calls that toString method for you. Okay? So, we're going to just hard code all of our planets. So, we're just going to hard code all of our planets. So, our system dot warp space, right? Warp space, new planet, and then the index, like that. And so we'll just do this multiple times. Let's actually establish real IDs for this one, for this. Let's do what's called math.random. But we want it to be an integer. So what math.random does is it produces a double between 0 and 1. We want an integer, so now it only produces from 0 to less than 1. All right? Like immediately between 0 and 1. So it's anything 0, so it's greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1. Okay? So now that we've set it to an int, now that we've cast it as an int, so this is casting, right? We're casting this double as an integer. We're losing that data. And so now it will always return a 0 because we just lose that data. It doesn't round. It just removes that float point value and gives us that whole number. So this will only give us 0 now. How can we change that? Well, we can do times, let's say, right? No, let's do times 9,000 times 9,999 and then add 1. This will give us any value between 1 and 10,000. Okay? So we're just going to do this for each planet in the solar system. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, or Uranus, then Neptune. In a way, this is a weird name to pronounce. The Greek name is Ouranos, which I like a lot more, so we're going to actually leave it like this instead of that other one. Now let's change the IDs. Now we need to change the indexes. So the index actually puts it in terms of the index. So we actually need to change this like this, because this is how indexing is done. So in an array, your index is always one less than its position. So if you have data in position 1, that first value, so like say we go back to 3, 1, and we go back to 3, 1, 5, right? This is in position 1, which we would represent as index 0. This is in position 2, which we would represent as index 1, and this is in position 3, which we would represent as index 2. So that last index is always the length minus 1. So in that case, it's always the position minus 1. Boom. So now we've warped all of that space. Now let's actually get that solar system. Okay. So let's get that system. So let's create a planet array called planets. Instead of actually creating a new one, these are not actually defined. We can't actually take these from here. These are only local variables that are only created here. They don't actually have any sort of reference. As you can see, it's only an instantiation. There's no declaration. There's no variable that goes with it. So all we're going to do is we're just going to do our sys dot get system, which is going to return the planets. Okay. We're going to need to cast. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to make this a space instead. A space array instead of a planet array. Boom. All right. Oh, that works. Okay. Planet, and now we're just going to do for and planets. We're just going to print that planet. Remember, we have that toString in the planet. Remember, we have that toString in planets, in that planet right here. We have that toString. So this should just run that toString method each time. Boom, there you go. You see? Now, what if we change it from being this? We can change it from being 2 blank spaces to doing this. This is a special character. This is the tab character. So if I run this now, that sucks, but it'll have to do. So Mercury is 2093, Venus is 2810, Earth is 7303, Mars is 7092. Let's run that again. I actually only want them to be 4-digit numbers, so I can't really do this. I'm gonna have to change this to that to this. Okay. Boom, there we go. Okay, so now we don't have to worry about that issue showing up. Alright, so we have Mercury 6341, Venus 6733, Earth 4978, Mars 2130, Jupiter 6522, Saturn 2117, Uranus 8733, and Neptune 1324. Alright, so as you can see, we've actually done some manipulation of these right here, you see, and we've even introduced you to arrays as well. So I'm just going to go through each and every one of these. You can pause. As you can see, destroy space actually is a boolean. It returns true after. It always returns true because basically it just, once you call that method, it returns true saying that, yes, you have set that to null. Null meaning that it's empty. Okay, I recommend that you actually do the practice and the link in that description below. Do some of that basic Java syntax. There's some array problems in there for you. Also go on to like W3 Schools and other websites like that for basic Java syntax just to keep practicing that syntax. And then this will just teach you how to use that syntax. Okay, so I think this was a good lesson and I'll see you in the next one.